Across Russia, filling up at the gas station has become a daily struggle. Fuel prices are soaring, and in many regions pumps are simply empty. Small businesses and families are hit hardest, especially during the busy summer months. Long lines and no fuel signs are now a common sight, fueling public anxiety. Russia has faced fuel issues before, but this crisis is deeper and more widespread. Despite being a major producer, a mix of high demand and disrupted supply is straining the system. The government is tapping into state reserves and trying to manage the chaos, but many still go without. The crisis is a symptom of bigger challenges: war, sanctions, and the structure of Russia's oil industry. For most people, the concern is simple: finding affordable fuel to get through the day. The search for gasoline has become a daily reminder of how distant political decisions now shape everyday life. The fuel crisis has a new cause: Ukrainian drone attacks on Russian oil refineries. These strikes have knocked out nearly a fifth of Russia's refining capacity, slashing gasoline production. The attacks are targeted and relentless, hitting key facilities and crippling supply chains. As demand peaks in summer, the timing couldn't be worse. The result: logistical chaos, with some regions left almost dry. Beyond the physical damage, the strikes have shattered the sense of security around Russia's energy infrastructure. Ukraine is showing it can hit the heart of Russia's economy, opening a new front in the war. Defending vast industrial sites from drones is nearly impossible, forcing Russia to stretch its resources thin. Each successful attack is both a blow to fuel supplies and a warning shot to the Kremlin. The empty pumps are a direct result of this new high-tech battlefield. Russia now faces a war not just on the front lines, but deep within its own borders. The drone attacks are just the spark. Russia's fuel crisis has deeper roots. The oil industry, shaped since Soviet times, prioritizes diesel over gasoline, making it hard to adapt to sudden shocks. Government price controls, meant to protect consumers, discourage companies from stockpiling fuel or investing in storage. High interest rates make it costly for businesses to expand reserves. The market is dominated by a few powerful state-linked companies, squeezing out smaller, independent gas stations. When supply tightens, big players protect their own outlets, leaving independents to close. Hundreds of small stations have already shut down, unable to get fuel. The system's inflexibility, combined with external attacks, has created a perfect storm. The crisis is severe because the industry was already vulnerable. The drone strikes lit the fire, but the groundwork for disaster was laid long ago. The Russian government is scrambling to contain the crisis. Fuel is being redirected from surplus regions, and state reserves are being tapped to keep essential services running. Price controls and subsidies, like the dumper scheme, are in place to prevent runaway prices, but keeping prices low risks discouraging production and worsening shortages. If things get worse, the government could lift price controls or even ration fuel. Both risky moves. Officials are trying to project calm and control, but every decision is a trade-off. The state must balance public anger, military needs, and the interests of big oil companies. For now, the hope is that logistical fixes and a seasonal drop in demand will ease the crisis. The government's strategy is to buy time and avoid panic, but the situation remains fragile. The next few months will test whether these emergency measures are enough. Russia's oil industry is split in two: one system for gasoline, another for diesel and heavy fuels. Diesel is abundant, powering exports and the military, while gasoline is in short supply. This diesel surplus acts as a buffer, keeping the state and military supplied even as civilians struggle. Despite the refinery damage, Russia still produces more gasoline than it consumes, but distribution is the challenge. The country can also export more crude oil to offset lost revenue from refined products. This flexibility helps stabilize the economy even as local shortages persist. Big state-connected oil companies control the supply chain and can shift focus as needed. Independent gas stations, however, have no such options and are the first to be cut off. Hundreds of small stations have closed, deepening the crisis for rural and small-town Russians. The dual system protects the state but leaves ordinary people and small businesses exposed. The crisis highlights the divide between powerful oil giants and vulnerable independents. Russia's oil structure is both its shield and its weakness. For ordinary Russians, the fuel crisis is personal and immediate. Long lines, empty pumps, and rising prices are daily frustrations. Small businesses, truckers, and farmers are hit hardest, especially during the harvest. Many independent drivers and delivery services have cut back or shut down. Over 300 small family-owned gas stations have closed, costing jobs and reducing competition. Rural communities feel the pinch most, with fuel shortages threatening livelihoods and food supplies. Despite growing anger, the Kremlin's control over media and politics keeps protests in check. The government's use of reserves and price controls is aimed at preventing unrest. For now, public dissatisfaction simmers, but it's unlikely to force a change in policy. Will the fuel crisis affect Russia's war effort? For now, the answer is no. The military relies on diesel, not gasoline, and has its own protected supply chains. The government prioritizes military needs, even if it means diverting fuel from civilians. The armed forces remain insulated from the shortages plaguing ordinary Russians. However, the drone attacks have exposed vulnerabilities in Russia's energy infrastructure. Ukraine's ability to strike deep inside Russia is a strategic wake-up call. If attacks intensify, future military operations could face more pressure. For now, the war machine keeps running, but the crisis is a warning. Russia's economic foundations are not invulnerable. The battlefield now includes pipelines and refineries, not just front lines. Gasoline shortages are likely to persist through summer and into autumn, but experts expect some relief by year's end. As demand drops after the busy season, repairs and logistics may catch up. Russia's energy sector has shown resilience, using reserves and exports to avoid collapse. The drone attacks have exposed real weaknesses, but haven't broken the system. The crisis is a lesson. Energy security is now national security. Russia must rethink how it protects its infrastructure and manages its fuel market. The empty pumps are a sign of deeper challenges, where war, sanctions, and energy collide. The stability of Russia's fuel market will remain a key test of its strength in turbulent times.